Hello there, I'm Lloyd Evans. Welcome to The Bunker. 2 years ago, I had the pleasure to meet Cheryl Murphy and her daughter Liv and learn the inspiring story of how Cheryl was moved to leave the Jehovah's Witness religion after learning that her daughter was gay. 2 years on, I now have the opportunity to learn what has transpired since then and catch up with these inspiring women. Cheryl and Liv, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having us back.
It's an absolute pleasure. I was really thrilled when you reached out. Just a quick disclaimer: I am a little bit flu-ridden, but wild horses couldn't keep me away from doing this interview. So it's going to be really interesting to see what transpires. And I know there's a little bit of a surprise in store, which viewers can look forward to. But what's happened in the 2 years since? Because I was rewatching our interview, and Tibor will give us a thumbnail if he's gracious. I was rewatching the interview, and I remember distinctly in part of the interview, Liv, you made it clear that you were running the risk of being disassociated or shunned as a result of doing the interview. So what transpired?
I am technically still not on paper disfellowshipped or disassociated. I've thought about disassociating myself, but I just haven't, because if I do see other witnesses out, at the store or anything, they do pretty actively shun me, which they were kind of doing beforehand, but at this point it doesn't bother me. So I just I feel like I kind of don't even identify so much as like an XJW anymore. I've kind of just moved on. So if I see them shutting me, I'm like, anyways, let me go get my soap now. Let me go finish my shopping. So I do get actively shunned. I think people have I think some of them have seen the video or at least seen the thumbnail. And I do get shunned, yeah, but whatever, what can you do?
Absolutely. I mean, the main thing is that you're living your authentic life.
Absolutely.
And one thing that was really harrowing or very moving, I should say, when we discussed your story the first time round was the fact that your life could so easily have ended prematurely. I mean, this was the extent of the impact it was having on your mental health. And Cheryl, the extent to which you fought for Liv from the very beginning, and allowed your motherly maternal instincts to really inform the way you dealt with things was so inspiring. Has there been any pushback for you? Has there been any developments in the 2 years since we did our interview from your participation?
Well, the feedback and the comments and from various people in the XJW community has been so inspiring. I have so many people that tell me what I did was so amazing. And I say, I really don't think it was. It was the only right choice. And I can't imagine living my life now without her, because the last 2 years have really been the best years of my life. I'm very happy to see that she no longer identifies even as an XJW. Like when she did the interview with you, she kind of felt it was very therapeutic and kind of left it there. And she's been moving on to do her cosmetology work. And she's a vivid hairstylist, as you can see. And it's just, people give me this praise and I'm like, I can't imagine making any other choice. And I do know I have a son. I won't say his name because he's a minor, but he had informed me that I believe his father, and he is remarried, have seen the thumbnail of the video, but of course they refuse to watch it because it's an apostate channel or whatever. But he told me that they know it exists. I can't imagine seeing this and then not being able to watch it. But I do know a few people in the community who were PMO, physically in, mentally out, contacted me because they knew both of us and were like, oh my goodness, they said they had no idea your story. And so I am disfellowshipped. So, and I'm totally fine with that. I would never consider going back, but it's been a great journey. So now she's still with the same individual, and I put an apartment downstairs. So we all live under one happy roof,
Yep.
and it's wonderful.
We just celebrated our 5-year anniversary, so everything's still great. And yeah, like she said, we all live together, and it's awesome, super fun.
Yeah, it's a big happy family here. So, and as far as my mother still shuns me, it's been what, 3 years, I think. Yeah. So I had absolutely no contact with her until just recently. I was very happy. I had to have a surgery done, and I actually got a card in the mail from her just wishing me well. And it was very nice because there was no scriptures. She wasn't asking me to go back to the religion. It's nothing. It was just being my mom. And just to get something like that was very nice to have that contact. So I did get a card from her. But other than that, I'm still actively shunned.
Well, that's really nice to hear that things have worked out. You're all living together under a roof of unconditional love and acceptance, which is a world away from the experience you've had in the Jehovah's Witness religion. I understand there's also, and I don't know whether you have anything else to add, Cheryl, but I think there's a surprise you had further to what you told us in the original interview.
Yeah, so in the original interview, we had talked about that I do have 3 children, Liv, my middle daughter, and my son. Well, shortly after we aired the last video, my middle daughter did wake up. So we're very, very excited because she's here today to talk to you. So you want to bring her on over.
Okay, well, wow. So nice to meet you, Chloe.
Nice to meet you.
And talk me through what prompted you to walk away from the Jehovah's Witness religion. I'm sure you have an interesting perspective to share on everything, the whole situation with your sister and your mum.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Is it okay that I have coffee here?
Well, that's fine.
I brought coffee because it's a long story.
And it's early where you are. It's like 7:18, isn't it, in the morning? So,
right?
Yeah.
Basically the middle of the night.
Yeah.
So I was the child of the family that was like the overachiever kind of. I was very into it. I was very into the validation that I received from the religion. And I was a regular pioneer for quite some time, probably like a year and a half, almost going on 2 years. And I guess like the process of, so my sister left and I was like, okay, well, like this really sucks, but at least I have like my mom, my dad, my brother and stuff. And then my mom left and I was like, can we swear on here?
Not the BBC.
Okay. So was that a no?
No, you can swear. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I was like, oh shit, I don't have my mom. I need my mom. I was a daddy's girl though. So like, I thought it was okay. But then my dad started like, it was the process of like, so it was me in this house exactly. My mom had left, my sister had left. It was me, my dad, and my brother. And my dad started kind of like neglecting us a little bit for this now his wife. And, like he was around, but he was like too busy. He kind of turned into like a teenager again, like just whatever, like didn't really care. So I was responsible for getting at the time, what was it, like 10-year-old brother ready for meetings and brushing his hair and making him shower and brushing your teeth and all this stuff. And I was like, and we were always late and it always stressed me out. And I was like, I can't do this. So then I got to the end. I got basically to the end of the road. I like to procrastinate things. And I was like, I knew eventually I would come to, that's not too right. I knew I would,
It's okay.
I knew I would eventually come to like a point where I would have to make a decision, but I waited till the last minute. So eventually the elders met with me and they were like, like it's not good that you shouldn't be talking to your mom, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, like weirdos. So I was like, so then like after that, I was like, I can't do this. I was like, I can't. I was like, I don't like who my dad has kind of become. He doesn't really like care about Liv. He doesn't care about us, even though we're in the religion and doing exactly what he wants. So I was like, I can't do it anymore. It wasn't very factual what caused me to leave. I was just like, my mom was like, yeah, it's not true. And I was like, okay, cool. So
actually, for the record, it wasn't me that said that.
It was me. It was them. And I was like, but this was before they even said anything, that I was like, I can't do this forever. This is not a sustainable life. I can't do it. And I was like, so eventually I was offered to go to Pioneer School. I was approaching my end of, I don't know if it's after a year or whatever.
Yeah.
I declined and I didn't go. And I was like, whoa, that was amazing. So then my dad, he left me here. I'm telling you the whole story. Is that okay? Like, I'm really going in. So,
buckle up, viewers.
Right. So I'm like, so my dad ended up leaving one day and went to my grandparents' house in Schenectady. I worked in Boston Spa. Oh, sorry. And for anyone that, whatever. So basically Schenectady is like
30 minutes.
Yes. Like 40 minutes. Their house is 45 minutes from here. Boston Spa is only like 30. It's kind of opposite directions a little bit. So I was like, okay, he just left one day and he was like, oh, well, you can come to your grandparents' house with me. That's basically your only option. And I was like, well, Dad, I can't do that. I work here. I can't afford the gas to drive that much just to live there. So he turned the power off in the house that I live in and he took all the furniture. So I was left here with no furniture and no power. And I was like, all I had was I had my bed, thankfully, but when I would sit in the living room, I had a blanket on the floor, on the hardwood floor, just to chill here. So I eventually had to reach out to my mom and her boyfriend, whatever you prefer, and
gentleman companion.
Yes, companion. Sorry. So you never know I was a college student, but I was like, so. I went over and I slept over at their house for a while and can I say his name?
Oh no, we're not revealing.
Okay. So, her companion would make me breakfast and stuff like that. And so I was taken care of after that. And so then I was like, Mom, I love this house that I've lived in. I want you to I feel like we should live there. I really think I saw a lot of potential for her to, add her pizzazz. And I was like, you should do it. And so she was like, okay, I actually like the house. I see the potential too. Cool. So she was like, just give me a week or two, Chloe. It's okay. I'm going to fix it up. We're going to get there, blah, blah, blah. So I basically was like, I'll stay in this house if you move in with me, kind of. It was just an easier transition for me rather than being telling everyone that I'm moving in with my disfellowship mom and all this stuff. So I was like, so basically, my mom revamped the place.
Mm-hmm. Well, can I just interject?
Yeah, sorry.
Because you're so in the divorce, my ex got this house. That's the part you're missing from the story. So she was living with him in this house. So essentially, I had to rebuy the house. So I had decided I liked the house. I wanted the house back, possibly. But I kind of thought that if I bought the house, I was buying my daughter, and that to me. I mean, everybody knows what I did for a live. I felt like I was now the next one. I was buying Chloe because I felt like if I bought the house back, I got Chloe to live with me.
I'm not worth money, Mom.
I know.
Not in a slavery kind of way, but I get you. Yeah. Okay.
She's priceless, as you can see. Okay. But I just thought, if I buy this house, there's a possibility that I could have my other daughter. But I wasn't the one that woke her up. Really, Liv did. So that's where it went from there. So there was one morning, when she got up to go to the meetings, I would say, okay, have fun. She'd get ready and go. And it was a Sunday morning. She got up and she goes, I don't think I want to go to the meeting today. And I just said, okay, sure. Do you want to go to breakfast? And she went, sounds good. And I don't think you ever went back, did you?
And I remember we went to the Northampton Diner. If you haven't been there, anyone watching, go there because they're amazing. And I remember I was like, wow, this was the best breakfast I've ever had in my entire life. I was like, I'm free.
Best
I can
Sunday
eat.
Ever.
Yeah. I was like, and then I never went back. That one meeting, done. So What happened? Do you have anything to add? I feel bad. I feel like No.
Okay, cool. So
Take it away.
I was like, what had happened is there was 3 congregations that originally shared our Kingdom Hall. It was Mayfield, Johnstown, Gloversville. And then eventually Mayfield merged into the other 2. So it was down to 2, Johnstown and Gloversville. I was a member of Johnstown congregation, and my dad's current wife was a member of Gloversville congregation. So he ended up deciding he was going to go to Gloversville with his soon-to-be wife. And I had the choice of choosing which one to stay and either stay in Johnstown. I was old enough, I drove, so it was like whatever. So basically, I went to Johnstown for a little bit, stopped going, went to one Gloversville meeting, and then I stopped going. So then everyone in Johnstown thought I was in Gloversville, and then everyone in Gloversville thought I was in Johnstown. And then no one ever texted me. No one.
Wonderful.
No one, dude. It was amazing. And like
the perfect crime.
Yeah, literally. It was like amazing. I was like, wow, no one reached out to me. No elders, nothing. I was like, whew. It was amazing.
Yeah, so she's been with us ever since, and of course, I'm adore her just as much as Liv, and
Now
I'm happy to have
I
her.
feel like nobody did reach out to her really at all, but because I feel like they literally saw her as like the lost cause, because before Chloe left, they would constantly say to her like, oh, well, Chloe, you're a pioneer. You don't want to end up like your sister or like your mom. So I think when they saw Chloe leave and I was already gone and my mom was already disfellowshipped and I was the big gay, and that's,
The big gay.
Yeah, like the worst of the worst. I think that they just kind of saw Chloe as a lost cause and didn't even bother, honestly.
Wait, Lloyd, I'm sorry. Is that your real background, or is that
It is, yeah. That's
It's
my real
real.
background.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. The big
It's
gay.
my collection of Watchtower materials. I'm not sure you could call them beautiful, but they're at least colourful. They're ironically rainbow-esque, aren't they? So just, going back to you, Chloe, would it be fair to say that your exit from the religion came about not necessarily as such an intellectual exercise where you were like your mother described in our last conversation, kind of doing copious research and, watching multiple videos and spending many long hours, fact checking JW facts and that kind of thing. Would it be fair to say that in your case, it was more about you being raised in something that was probably always not for you, and when you had an opportunity to leave it, you kind of just grabbed it with both hands? Would that be fair?
Yeah, I would say that's safe to say that, because I'm a very like kind of follow the leader type person, and I love validation. I need that, like, I need people to tell me that I'm doing a good job, kind of, in order to feel like successful and complete. So like the fact that, and I'm also a very like list type person. I like to check off the list and like follow the rules, kind of, orderly and stuff.
Structure.
Yeah, a very structural person. And the fact that I had that structure, I feel like I like was hanging on to that and stuff. And it also, to preface my story, or after the fact, I should say, because I've already told the whole story, but I should say that no matter what you do in that religion, it's never good enough unless you're an elder's wife, an elder's child, a CO's wife, a CO's child, something like that. Because I was a regular pioneer. I would attend all the meetings. I would participate. I would be out in service. I never swore. I didn't have tattoos, nothing bad. In fact, out of like all of us children, I was looked at as like, oh my God, you're the little like perfect, like you follow the rules and everything. It's never good enough, because I was always like mildly almost like bullied, you're very like demeaned by people, and like they make you feel like crap because they like essentially like, oh, if they don't you start not getting invited to social events, which is the only thing that you really have to do on the weekends other than go to the meeting and go on service. So it's like, no matter what you do. And it was not until I left that I realized that I was not a bad person. It was just the people that I was around. Because guess what, Lloyd? I have a loving boyfriend. I'm not pregnant. I'm not doing drugs. I have a loving family, and I have the best friends that I've ever had in my entire life. So everything that they tell you happens when you leave the religion is not true. So do it if you're thinking about it.
Well, you've preempted my next question, because what I was going to ask was, because we're talking about very recent events. I think when I interviewed Cheryl and Liv 2 years ago, we were talking about things that had only happened in the last 3 years. So all of this has happened within only the last 5 years. So it's all very recent for all of you, really. And I guess one of the biggest fears that people are going to have when it comes to making that leap and getting out of this abusive organization is, how am I going to, create a new social network? How am I going to find new friends, start new relationships? Has that been challenging? I guess the question applies to all of you. To what extent has that been a challenge for you?
I feel like part of the reason I ever started losing interest in the religion was because I had a lot of school friends that I wanted to hang out with and go to the roller rink with, and like I could never go. So I did have some school friends and a few work friends outside of the religion, which I know is frowned upon.
Bad association.
Yes, the bad association. And so I did have a few people out on the outside when I left, and then I think I just like through my job and through friends of friends, just networking over time. It's not like a flock of friends that come. Actually, I've met a lot of other XJWs who I love and adore, who we go out with sometimes, and they're super fun. And but yeah, no, I have a great group of friends. My work friends, my old school friends. So it took a little bit of time to kind of get back out there, basically, but that's me. How about you?
Am I next?
Yes.
I was going to say my favorite XJW people are these ones.
Oh.
I like to hang out with them on the weekend.
We do.
But I would say it's definitely it's not a flock of people that come. It takes time, but I feel like it's almost a relief to like take the burden off of all those people that were making you feel so bad, that it's like it makes you feel like, oh my God, I'm losing everything that I've ever had. But it's like, who cares? I have my family, and I'm a very family oriented person. So I'm like, I don't care. So then I started I met people at Liv worked together previously. I met people at Liv's work. I met Liv's friends, Liv's old school friends that were her best friends. I started hanging out with my high school best friends that knew that I was a Jehovah's Witness, and I couldn't hang out with them because they were worldly. Imagine having to explain that to your friends, like, as he knows.
Yeah.
But and like now I have a new job. I have a ton of new friends there. I meet people at the gym. Like I meet my boyfriend's friends. Like it's like, it just naturally starts happening. So it kind of does happen as a flock eventually, where it's like all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, like I have all these new friends and like all this stuff. And like, I've also learned that like my mom's friends are some of my best friends too. And it's not, age does not matter, because one of my best friends at work is 39 and has a child and is married. And I'm like, oh my God, I love you so much. So like, and then also like I'm like, so then another one of my best friends at work is like 25 and stuff like that, and very like in school and pursuing things. And so like
You too.
yeah,
You mentioned
yeah.
about you're in school.
Yep.
That's a big deal.
I'm in school, and I hate every second of it, but I'm in school.
So you've gone back to, was that a case of kind of going back to your education after leaving the Jehovah's Witnesses?
So excuse me. So maybe that was why I was a little looked down upon, because I was in college since I was 16. So I was in college while I was pioneering. So I homeschooled for high school and started college early. So,
yeah, they have a program called Early Admit where you can go to a community college during high school, and she was doing that. So yeah, you were bad.
I know. I was Satan, the devil.
Yeah. But now she's only 20, and this semester she's going to graduate with her bachelor's of science in nutrition at 20 years old. That
Fantastic.
is huge for an extra.
Brilliant.
And then as far as me with friends, yeah, same thing, just work.
She's good. She's got the most friends.
Yeah.
Out of all of us.
I have a lot of wonderful friends.
I'll be sitting on the couch drinking my coffee, watching a movie, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm going out with my friends.
I'm going out on the town."
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
No, I do. I have a lot. I'm an extrovert. I'm very social person, so I do have a lot of great friends, and a lot of them XJWs too, but very diverse group. So that's what I hope for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Well, it's a real thrill to see that you've all been able to move on and you're all together. Obviously, I appreciate that it's not the entire family, and we won't talk about the brother because, like you say, he's a minor. But I think it's lovely to see that despite there being so much adversity, particularly when we bring in, the previous conversation where we were discussing, coming out to your mother as gay and, the prospects of being shunned and the mental health issues and all of those things, for you to all be together now and able to support each other is really, really inspiring. And I'm so glad we were able to have this catch-up conversation. If each of you have a message for those watching this video, perhaps who might be on the fence about leaving the organization, what would be your message?
Well, first of all, I'll say my son is 16 and not baptized. That is huge. And I will tell him the same thing that I told these two, that I support him if he chooses to join. But if he leaves, he has all of us. It's his choice. I absolutely do not say anything to him about the religion badly. I want him to be able to make a choice and know that he has options. But for anybody who's going to leave the religion, I think I said in the last video, we do run a local XJW support group online. There's a wonderful group of us here to support anybody who, and we have people now that are not just from upstate New York. We have people that join our call from all over. And, that is there. And to my mom, I don't think she would ever watch this, but if she does, we're all here and we're a happy family and we're doing great. And we would love to have a relationship with any of them. So I feel like the best life ever is now. And I'm living my best life in the last 2-3 years. It's been the best years of my life.
This is the best.
Wow.
Oh no, it's traumatizing.
I like that. The best life ever is now.
Yeah, right?
That's brilliant.
It really
Yeah.
is.
I was gonna say that I feel like when you're about to leave, like when you're thinking of leaving the religion, you think of all the losses of like, oh, I'm gonna lose, maybe my family, my friends. And yeah, at first that is really hard. That's very traumatizing. It's, it's sometimes might be one of the most difficult things in your life. But honestly, I feel like the relationships that I've gained from leaving definitely trump the relationships that I had in the religion, because honestly, the ones I had in the religion, I feel like were very fake, honestly, like as if you're not doing everything by the book, then they leave. So now I have, like I said, I have some of the best friends. I have a great partner. I love my mom's partner as well. So the people that I have, the family that I have now is 10 times better than what I ever could have imagined what I had before. So I have such a healthier lifestyle now. So if you're thinking about leaving, yes, it's scary at first, but just send it, and
Just
you never
send
know,
it.
you never
Send it.
know what you might get.
There's another quote. Send
Now I gotta call with something good.
it.
Okay, so I would say that edit that, Lloyd. That silence right there. So
Okay.
you know how they you call in the religion, you say sister blah blah blah, sister blah blah blah, brother blah blah blah, whatever. I do think that there is opportunity to build your family, and I think that there is like opportunity to be able to look at like strangers to in the future be like your family and stuff. So I do think there is some truth to being like, oh, like we're all sisters and brothers and mothers and blah blah blah, because like you can find, you know, equivalent
Outside of the religion.
outside of the
Oh,
religion. This is outside of the religion. I'm just comparing it to that. I don't know why I did that, because I don't believe in anything that they say, but whatever. So you know what I mean. So anyway, I would just say that it's never, surprisingly, it's never as bad as it seems. I really was like, this is gonna, like, my world is just gonna crumble. And then I was like, I left and I was like, oh my God, like that was such a relief to me. I was like, even though I lost my dad, which if he's watching this too, you never stop thinking about your family. Like I was a daddy's girl. I grew up, I love my dad. And I always wish the best for my dad, you know, but it's like, and you never stop thinking about like the family that you lost or anything, but it's also like, I don't want to associate with people that choose a religion over me, or choose to, because I don't know what's like, I sometimes often think about like, would it have been worse if my dad passed away, or whether that he's alive and he chooses to not associate with me? You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a different loss. It's a different type of loss than if you actually lose your parent to death, or you lose your parent to a religion. So it's like, sometimes it's better to just step away and say, you know what? The best life ever is now.
Exactly.
Period.
Yeah.
And just to clarify, her father does shun her as well too, and she's not disfellowshipped either.
Yes, I am not disfellowshipped, but I am shunned. But I have had a couple like Jehovah's Witnesses actually approach me very nicely, which I appreciate, but still
do you think it's possible that after this video you might be disfellowshipped?
Oh, if I am, send it. I would love that actually. So how would they do that though? Because don't they need my permission to technically
no.
Okay, whatever. Disfellowship me.
There you go.
Bitches,
You're already
disfellowship me.
shunned. So
I love your attitude. That's brilliant.
Literally disfellowship me. I don't talk to anyone that
But that's how you take away their power.
Yeah, that's-
okay.
Do it then.
Honestly, can I put my phone number in here so the elders will reach out?
no.
Probably not a good idea. You might get phone calls that are not related to that. But anyway.
Yeah. We told you Chloe would steal the show, so
Yeah, definitely.
It's okay.
Well,
don't worry. I'm not fearful.
it's been a brilliant show and a very inspiring story again. It's a privilege to be able to help you all share your experience, and I'm sure it will be a huge inspiration to my audience. So thank you so much for coming on this call at a ridiculous hour in the morning and sharing such an uplifting story. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to see you again.
Yes, it was nice to meet you.
Thank you. So viewers, that's all we have time for. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.